Hello everybody, this is a presentation about clothing and climate change. It's addressed to family and friends. It comes about because of my recent reading around the issues of climate change, carbon footprints, and the sustainability of our current lifestyles. So this is 43 slides long and has the following contents. I'll first introduce you to the main sources that I've read in the compiling of this presentation. Then I'll set the scene about why I've become worried about this issue. And then in this central section 3, 4, 5 and 6, we'll be looking at what has become known as the linear economy, taking resources, making clothes, using clothes, and then disposing of waste. Then I'll talk explicitly about the linear economy and how we might improve it. And then I'll continue further about changes we can make in sections 8 and 9. This presentation comes about from my reading of Chapter 6 of this book, which I highly recommend, by Chris Goodall, What We Need to Do Now. I've also been reading and quoting from an article from Greenpeace. The article is called A Monstrous Disposable Industry, Fast Facts About Fast Fashion. Greenpeace themselves quote a report from Parliament from 2019, and then I give a brief mention to the Dame Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So, setting the scene, I had no idea that clothing was and is an issue, a problem, around climate change and sustainable living. But it turns out that worldwide, the amount of clothing being produced is increasing hugely. And partly as a consequence, clothes are used less now, 1/3 less than 15 years ago, before being discarded. So, we are taking more, making more, using less, and wasting more. And this is a big drain on the planet's resources. So clothing, everything about clothing ranks 5th in a league table of the most injurious elements of our current living in the UK, behind housing, cars, flying and food. So going into the take phase, so one polyester shirt has a 5.5 kilogram carbon footprint, compared to just 2.1 kilograms for a cotton shirt. This is from the Greenpeace document. So polyester has a high carbon footprint. It's made of petrol. But cotton production is not innocent of issues. It takes excessive amounts of water and excessive amounts of agricultural land to be produced. So with polyester clothes, we're wearing fossil fuels. This is a quote from the Greenpeace document, which I find particularly striking. Also, when we make polyester, the proportion of synthetic fibres, such as polyester, in our garments has doubled since 2000. Rising to 60% in 2019, and these fibres are produced from oil. Cotton growing, as I've mentioned, requires a huge land demand, which takes away from food production and reforestation. Currently, 6% of agricultural land is being used for growing cotton, and that may be up to 8% by 2030. Cotton growing also requires huge amounts of water. 1 kilogram of cotton requires between 10,000 and 20,000 litres of water. Chemical pollution is created in the processing of cotton. and there's a vast amount of pesticides being used. Maybe you think organic cotton is better? Well, yes, but it needs more land because yield is lower. So the growing of cotton creates water stress. This can be illustrated most dramatically by the Aral Sea, which is in fact a lake, which is almost entirely dried up, largely due to intensive industrial cotton farming in Central Asia. I should add that cotton is not entirely to blame for the drying up of the Aral Sea. Irrigation projects for food such as melons, rice and cereals have also contributed to the drying up of the Aral Sea. And these are two photographs, images. The one on the left is of the Aral Sea, remember it's a lake, from 1989, and on the right from 2008, showing the considerable drying up and the almost entire disappearance of this lake. The situation, I believe, has improved in recent years. But just as we are wearing oil when we wear polyester, with cotton we are unwittingly wearing the fresh water supply of Central Asia and destroying fragile ecosystems. The parliamentary report goes on to say that water scarcity impacts local communities in low-income countries, and China and India are suffering medium to high levels of water stress in certain areas. Moving on to the use of clothing. In the UK, each person buys about 27 kilograms of clothing each year. That's astonishing. Whereas the average is about 16 kilograms for people across Germany, Denmark, France, Italy, the Netherlands and Sweden. Another factor in using garments is each time a new piece of polyester is washed, about 100,000 microfibers get loosened and find their way into the sea and thence into the food chain. In the UK, the average person owns 115 items of clothing, but 30% of these clothes have not been worn within the past year. And between 2000 and 2015, clothing production almost doubled from 50 billion tonnes to more than 100 billion tonnes, while on average clothing use has reduced by 36%. Both Greenpeace and the UK Parliament make mention of this. Going on to the waste phase, virtually no clothing is fully recyclable and very little is reused for a second time. This is from Chris Goodall. About 20% is discarded because it's worn out, but 80% is discarded because it doesn't fit anymore or it's not wanted. You might think that we recycle well, but in the UK, only around a third of the 650,000 tonnes of discarded clothes that are given to charity are resold, with the rest being sent off to textile recyclers. But less than 1% of pre-consumer and post-consumer textiles are recycled into new clothing. By pre-consumer textiles, that means the waste that's created when you cut out shapes from a piece of textile in order to make a garment. All this, Chris Goodall says, results in the fact that nothing typifies the world's environmental problems more than the clothes we buy. This is the linear economy at its most destructive. By the linear economy, he means what we've taken as the spine of this presentation, the take, make, use and waste phases of a garment's history from creation to disposal. And the linear economy is a bad thing. So the solutions the family could take is to reduce purchases, buy less and wear longer, buy second-hand, repair and reuse, wash as little as possible, don't iron, don't tumble dry, avoid clothing with pre-made rips and tears, The syllabus of the school curriculum should include the creation and repairing of clothes. And this is one repair I did, remembering sewing lessons from primary school. On the left, a tear carelessly inflicted upon my trousers from cycling. And then the middle is the repair as seen from the outside, and the repair as seen from the inside using a piece of holey sock. Other things we can do is don't buy for fun. On the right you can see a 100% cotton t-shirt made in Honduras, which is in the family's possession. And this raises another issue, because if we succeed worldwide and in the UK in reducing demand, it would result in reduced income in low income and medium income countries such as Bangladesh, Cambodia, Honduras. And of course in the UK 400,000 people work in the clothes industry. There are some solutions being tried in the industry. The firm known as Patagonia makes fleece from plastic. A firm called Lensing makes materials from cellulose. Our UK government is good at commissioning reports and receiving recommendations, but then doing nothing about them. And this is the case with the 2019 report, which advocated taxation on garments and supply chain transparency, and there's certainly nothing on taxation. That was rejected out of hand by, I think, the Theresa May government. I'm not sure what's happening about supply chain transparency, but the main concern in 2019 was about slave labour being used in the supply chains. So, just a reminder, the linear economy, the take, make, use, waste paradigm is a bad thing, and we need to change it. So we need to take less and take care of the environment and people, including future people. We need to make less and build in recyclability. We need to buy less and use longer. And in the waste phase, in the disposal phase, we need to aim for 100% recyclability. We need to aim for it. It's not actually possible, but it should be an aim which we pursue. Dame Ellen MacArthur Foundation advocates a circular economy, and some of her statements are to design out waste and pollution, keep products and materials in use, and regenerate natural systems. A last thought on individual action: have a look at the last chapter of Chris Goodall's What We Need to Do Now. It has advice on what individuals, both within their own personal lives and as citizens, can do to improve the situation. Thank you.